Hi! Thank you so much for joining me on my bookish journey. I'm Janelle Filteau, the author behind the Egyptian Heir series. The Egyptian Heir is the start of my journey. I was illiterate until I was 13. I had so many ideas swarming around in my mind with no outlet to express them. So I picked up a pen and through blood, sweat, and many tears, I taught myself to read and write, and the Egyptian Heir series blossomed. Book 1, The Egyptian Heir, follows Cassandra Waters, Cassie, as she likes to be called by friends and family, as she navigates life with her 3 older brothers and enemies to lovers, boyfriend Zach Exeso. After the tragic death of her parents, Cassie is forced to move to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, to live with her 3 older brothers. And when she starts school, she's bullied by the infamous Zach. She, after a month of torment, learns that he may be the only one she can rely on, as she is targeted by a group of vicious criminals who believe she's the heir to the 7 cursed wish-granting diamonds of the pharaoh Obuko. With the help of Zach, a secret organization, the FUA, and her brothers, Cassie learns that she can endure real hell. Ensnared continues the story. It's a year after the events of the Egyptian Heir, and Cassie is struggling to navigate her new life. She's drowning beneath the lies being told to her brothers, and she's disappointing the FUA as she tries to control the mysterious diamonds. When a familiar threat lurks in the shadows and the FUA goes into high alert, Cassie and Zach will be tested, body and soul, in this bone-chilling young adult thriller. Whoever enters this tomb and is not heir to the diamond's powers will surely die. When the heir is revealed, they will be able to control the diamonds as they wish. I found your heir, Obuko. She's going to be all mine. Victor retold Obuko's story over in his head for the 1000th time. He gazed upon a crumpled photo of the young brunette girl with enticing hazel eyes. I'm coming for you, only a little longer. The itch that tickled the back of his neck grew in the anticipation of his soon-to-be finalized plans. Come on, Victor, Jonathan shouted from the neighboring cell. You said to be prepared. Well, I'm prepared. What's happening? Victor leaned against the concrete wall and stretched out his legs across the stiff bed. Stop whining and be patient. Massaging his head, he struggled to keep his cool. Unless you want to be the next to be rid of, we're leaving tonight. Jonathan fell silent. None of Victor's men asked questions. Victor double-checked his pillowcase of items and began humming. Metal bars restricted his freedom, and yet he was at peace. Soon the main entrance would open, and the night air would kiss his unshaven face. Victor rose from the bed and wrapped his arms around the cell bars to patiently count down the last minutes of imprisonment. All of their attention landed on the guard's gate opening with a beep. Footsteps followed. Victor held an appreciative look towards a guard who used to avoid him. The dark, shaggy-haired guard approached Victor's cell before giving a curt incline of his chin. He carried a duffel bag over his shoulder. The guard fiddled with keys, hesitating before he twisted them in the cell door. Victor took his first deep breath of freedom. Jonathan exited his cell with a gorilla's sway. The guard continued shuffling along to the next cells to release Eric, Jason, and Austin. No one spoke. They feared being left behind. The guard brought forth the duffel bag and dropped it to the ground. There are 2 taxis waiting outside. Change, he pointed to the bag, and then head out to them. All the main doors to the courtyard are open. Victor knows the route. The cameras are off for the next 15 minutes. I suggest you hurry. The drivers have been paid and have directions. I'll meet you at the safe house in an hour. He returned through the doors he'd entered from, and the men slipped into mismatched clothing before following their leader out to the summer air. Ensnared introduces you to 3 new characters. One of my favorite new characters is Andrew Weber, an FUA agent with a bone to pick with Zach. His jealousy overwhelms him, and his search for power makes him corruptible as he becomes the secondary agent to the Egyptian Heir assignment. He may end up being a wolf in sheep's clothing. The doorbell rang, and Cassie stepped to answer it. Zach stood outside the heavy wooden door, looking anxious. I can't get a moment from my secret life, can I? As she welcomed him in, Zach darted halfway up the steps. He shouted for her to follow and disappeared into her bedroom. She slowly headed up the steps and puffed out her cheeks in exasperation for the ensuing conversation. Up and down, he paced across her room. Cassie sank to her bed and bundled up the pillow into her chest. Zach, I haven't been able to. When I got to the FUA, Andrew was with Mr. Edwards. Cassie patted the bed next to where she sat. He declined to sit, instead throwing up his arms in vexation. As soon as I got near, Mr. Edwards said, Agent Exasil, Zach mocked the man's deep voice, there are to be no ifs, ands, or buts. Agent Weber is now part of the Egyptian Heir assignment. A chilly silence gripped the air. Cassie lay back on her bed and pressed her hands over her stomach. Zach knelt onto the bedspread. Damn it, that slimy asshole. Why did they do that? Mr. Edwards said it remained classified, and when we gained clearance from the board, we'd be informed on all privileged information. Andrew was holding a file, so I guess it's true. He'll know all about you. He's worse than a thorn in the ass. He's a freaking branch. What would cause them to increase agent presence? The men are still in jail, right? Yes, I'm updated weekly to ensure they're still there. Did someone new find out about me? I doubt it. The FUA is the only organization privileged to your case. The CIA knows of the diamonds, but they haven't been told they were removed from the tomb. Well, I hope it's nothing serious, and then he'll be out of our hair soon. She stole a kiss from his perturbed lips. Zach smiled. I guess you're right. It should only be for a short time. She nudged his chin with her forehead. No more stressing. Mr. Edwards wouldn't add another agent without a reason. Once you find out why, it will make sense. In relief, he slipped her underneath him while his lips pressed roughly against hers. Zach's fingers intertwined with hers, and he pinned her down so they could enjoy a solitary moment of peace. That ended when Michael called for her. A small teasing struggle ensued when Zach refused to release her. She escaped by rolling him off the bed with a thump, tossing her pillow gently at him, and dashing away. She headed down the hallway. Cassie almost fell as she froze mid-step on the stairs. At the front door, Andrew kicked off his runners and strutted around the banister to greet her with his arms spread wide. This day keeps getting better and better, she thought sourly. She dodged his advance and shoved him against the wall, with both hands pinning his shoulders against the cream-colored walls. Oh, Cassandra, you're feisty. That's gross, Andrew, she whispered in disgust. What are you doing here? He released her grip with a quick movement. It's classified. I'll explain when we're in private. There's nowhere private in this house, Cassie mumbled. Cassie, something wrong? Zach called. Andrew's excitement increased by an increment of 10. He hauled her toward Zach's voice. Cassie shoved him into her bedroom. Zach sat leisurely across the bed, tapping her hands on the fluffy quilt. He stood erect when he registered Andrew's presence and wrenched Cassie away. What the hell is he doing here? I assumed I should learn the layout of her house, since she's my assignment now, Andrew said. Hold up, Zach erupted. He approached Andrew and poked him squarely in his chest with his finger. She's my assignment? I've superiority over you, and we're dating. Back off. You have no justification to barge in here. Have you even read the full report on why she's an assignment? Andrew's confidence faltered briefly. Well, no. Right. How about you screw right off? Zach huffed. How are you supposed to protect her if you aren't even aware of who she is or who's after her? Also, Are you aware that she's a red tape classified assignment and her brothers aren't privileged to know about the FUA? Andrew's eyes widened in shock. Just like I thought. I don't need your help in protecting Cassie. Until Mr. Edwards comes to his senses about this, why don't you dig yourself into a hole and disappear? Andrew rubbed his chest where Zach had poked it. Zach crossed his arms defensively. You're right, Zach. As of right now, you are her primary agent. However, you've failed her in the past. Why not give someone else a shot at protecting her? I wouldn't get her hurt. Zach snarled and fumed as he and Andrew stood face to face. Zach balled his fist and hit Andrew in the jaw. Both boys toppled into a brawl, fists flying and swear words filling the bedroom. Andrew flipped Zach off him and gained control before Zach punched him again and swiped out his leg, making Andrew fall. Zach went to kick Andrew again when Cassie wedged herself between them and shoved them apart. That's enough, she screamed. Breathing heavily, they dropped their fists. Menacing glares flashed through their eyes, but they froze without a sound. I'm sick of being caught in these stupid fights. I'm not a toy, I'm a person. Both of you need to grow up. I'm going to clear this up tomorrow. She grabbed their right hands and wrenched them forwards. Shake for a truce. This behavior isn't making me feel any safer. Andrew tugged away and rejected the notion. Heading out to the hallway, he turned back. I'll become your primary agent, Cassandra. He sauntered out of view, stomped down the steps, and exited the house before the brothers came barreling in to find Zach bleeding and Cassie furious. Zach instantly began to apologize, but Cassie heard none of it. She pushed him away. You need to leave, Zach. I can't deal with this and make my decision about you-know-what. I need to focus on one thing at a time. But she showed him the door with a simple point. He dragged his feet and gave a mournful goodbye. Downstairs, Michael spoke to Zach. Hey, everything all right? Yeah, just peachy, Zach snapped. Frustrated, Cassie slinked to the window and listened for shouts from outside. With both testosterone-amped agents leaving close behind one another fight could ensue. Hey, Michael knocked at the doorframe, concern etched across his square face. What was that ruckus? She grunted when she heard Zach's car door squeal and his wheels spinning out. With a hump, she sat at her desk and turned on her computer. Nothing. Stupid boys being boys. Relationship issues all around today, huh? Michael leaned in to kiss the top of her head. You're all right, though? She replied with a nod. I haven't seen that other guy around. Cassie sighed internally. Here come the lies. He's someone from school. He's been irritating the shit out of Zach and trying to break us up. I guess they needed to release some pent-up anger. Sorry, Cassie. Had I known, I wouldn't have let him in. Nah, it's not your fault. They're both jerks for letting it get that far. I bet you're wondering why Zach and Andrew hate each other. Well, if you're wanting to learn more about the FUA's side of the Egyptian Heir, you can read The Prodigy, a free prequel to the events of the Egyptian Heir. Part 4 is releasing at the end of the summer, and you'll learn the reasons for Zach and Andrew's hatred. I do have to warn you, if you don't like spoilers, please don't start with The Prodigy until after at least reading the Egyptian Heir. Now, on to the reason why you're actually here. The Egyptian lore and the mysticism of the diamonds. In Ensnared, Cassie is training with the FUA, trying to control the diamonds. The Egyptian Heir series builds on the lore as the books continue, and Cassie begins to unravel the mysteries revolving around Pharaoh Oboco. The diamonds are ever-changing, and this last excerpt is just the beginning. Now, Cassandra, we're trying something new, Mr. Edwards announced. If you can't find a safe way to accomplish it, don't try. Make each dust cloud into miniature stars, Dr. Lavu said. Wait, what? Cassie asked. Like stars that we see at night? She gawked. The sun is a star. She considered it for a moment longer. I could kill you. Wording is everything, Dr. Carlyle said. Just think for a moment. He leaned closer into the microphone. The concept of stars is quite simple. Particles of debris are clumped together with the use of extreme temperatures and pressurized gas. This produces heat and then compresses. Through nuclear explosions, the star is born. Explosions? She asked nervously. Yes. Is this even safe? Cassie squatted down and traced her finger along the floor. I can't just ask for them to be a star. Exactly. How big would they be? Dr. Lavu asked. How much heat would this produce? Consider all the possibilities. Take your time. Can I ask a question? Of course, Dr. Lavu said. This could harm a lot of people if I do this incorrectly, right? He cleared his throat. Yes, since we're working with nuclear fission and hydrogen, it could result in quite a destructive explosion. This isn't right. Why are we doing something so dangerous? How can I complete this without having the risk factors? Cassie suddenly smacked the ground. She paced about the room and went to a specific dust cloud. I wish that the star will not be able to harm anything outside of this room. I wish to be protected from the star if anything goes wrong. The diamonds swirled vibrantly. A blue light extended from them, sealing Cassie within a glimmering bubble. Now I can ensure everyone's safety. An uneasy feeling crept to the back of her mind. This is too dangerous to do it traditionally. Stars are one giant bomb. I can't be reckless. I could do it step by step using the science behind it. Her hands grazed the diamonds. Or, how did the Egyptians view the stars? The doctors looked at one another. The stars, Dr. Carlyle explained, were believed to be the pharaoh's ascension to the northern sky as the morning star. They joined the indestructible stars of old, which were thought of as past kings. Stars are the essence of the pharaohs. They're their souls transformed. Cassie snapped her fingers. I wish for this cloud of dust to become a star no bigger than a dime by using a small part of my essence. The dust swirled as fast as the diamonds. Cassie's chest pulsated and glowed in an eerie citrine light. She pressed her hands to it. Euphoria filled her body with a rush of exhilarating excitement when the light floated out from her. A wispy pink smoke trailed in the wake of the light as it settled inside the dust cloud. The swirling became more hectic as tiny rays of fireworks exploded from within. The light's citrine hue became a fiery red flicker, and the smoke and dust melded together. A blinding flash exploded, and Cassie shielded her eyes from it. When she looked back, the star took on a life of its own. She felt the heat given off even within her safety bubble, which forced her to step back. The birth of a star exploded with a pulse of energy. The beautiful cloud of gas swirled with the star's freshly developed gravitational pull that gathered more dust nearby. Cassie grinned at her brilliant creation. Her hands rose, feeling the warm embrace of the star's presence. That was when she noticed small raised welts blistering her hands from the immense temperature of the star. She saw the barrier cracking. Like the diamonds, the star was bonded with her, and it grew brighter and brighter and hotter as it stole her energy. Cassie's muscles tightened and ached as she sweated profusely. The star drifted closer, and all Cassie could do was cower in the corner as her heart raced against her ribcage. She clutched at her chest, screaming in pain. When the doctors darted from the observation area, Cassie halted their motion. It's not stable, she waved her arms around, gesturing them back. Stop. Suddenly, the diamonds ended their vigorous swirling of electric colors and returned to their dormant state. The star flickered from existence as its energy source disintegrated. Cassie inhaled shakily. She was released from their relentless power draining, and this small citrine light returned to its rightful place. The remaining dust clouds sprinkled across the room, making the black floor sheen from the swirling, colorful particles. Zach helped her up. He kissed her and escorted her out of the diamonds holding area for the two researchers to replace the diamonds into their soundproof boxes. Mr. Edwards followed behind. Mr. Edwards, Cassie said, from now on, I'd like to be informed on why we're doing certain experiments. In hindsight, she brought her hands forward. I should not have done this. I considered the risks, but things could have gone much worse. If I'm unable to be informed, I'm going to decline. I need to ensure everyone's safety, and my own. Mr. Edwards replied, of course. I'll try my best to keep you informed. And Cassandra, you did an excellent job controlling the diamonds today. You really did, Cassie. Zach praised her. Cassie bounced on the balls of her feet as they headed towards the elevator. Thanks, Zach. It was hard, and I do have to start keeping in mind the dangers. I tried this wish only because I wanted to prove something to myself, which I must admit was dumb. But I did it. Zach hit the elevator button to the main floor. Cassie leaned back to enjoy the ride as her headache throbbed. Outside, the streets nearby buzzed, honked, and crunched with vehicles moving along as wild birds sang their chirping tunes. Cassie slumped into the rundown prelude and stroked her head between cringes of pain. She tried not to flinch whenever they struck a pothole. The stars and diamonds had taken a lot out of her, and she was ready to sleep. The vehicle bumped again. Saskatoon roads were unkind to vehicles and humans alike. At a red light, Zach leaned over and ruffled through the glove box for a bottle of Advil. He handed it to Cassie. The headaches have never been this bad. Cassie popped an Advil into her mouth and swallowed it with difficulty. It's also never felt so exhilarating. She shivered just at the thought of the star returning to her. You were amazing today, honey. She reclined the seat back to rest her eyes. Minutes crept by, and the throbbing in her head lessened quickly. Once Zach parked outside her house, she opened her eyes and was blinded by the blazing light. Watching the billowing oak tree, Cassie remembered Michael's waiting surprise. Want to come in and eat? Michael's got a surprise for the family. I doubt he'd mind if you came too. You're practically family. I'm going to meet with Mr. Edwards and Mitchell, and then I need to rest. I was on assignment late last night. I'll come over tonight and check on you. I can't wait to hear about the surprise. He rubbed her flushed cheek. I love you. Sleep well. If you're that tired, don't worry about coming over tonight. No, I'll come over as soon as I can. I'll always be there to protect you. She gave a light kiss and stepped from the vehicle. I guess I'll see you later, Zach. I love you. Tomorrow, we'll go for a walk by the river. Get our minds off of stuff. Cassie slumped up the driveway and stepped inside the foyer, calling out to her older brothers. Nobody called back. Checking to see if they'd left, she opened the garage entrance to find Michael's car there. Brant's was in the driveway. The silence was odd. Cassie checked the dining room and the backyard. She couldn't wait to hear Michael's surprise. Where are they? Cassie nibbled her bottom lip and knocked on Michael's study door. Inside, the computer desk was meticulously organized, and the rolling desk chair was empty. She shrugged, assuming they'd gone for a walk. As she rounded the banister, she heard soft whispers. She went to the basement steps and halted. The whispers became panicked grunts, followed by a thud. Something was wrong. If you want to know what's lurking in the shadows of Cassie's home, you'll have to pick up Ensnared. Available on my website as hardcover, paperback, and ebook. And of course, requesting books at libraries helps support local authors a lot more than you know. Don't forget to follow and like on my social medias. Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. All of them are Janelle Filteau. Just look for the blue orb. Don't forget to visit theegyptianheir.com. Exciting things are happening behind the scenes. There's new character profiles releasing soon. As you know, I started working with an illustrator, Keegan, to bring the Egyptian Heir characters into a new era. Book 3 is with Donovan Thiessen, my developmental editor. It gets more magical, and you'll finally learn who Victor is behind the mask.